Alright, so we all know the lead up to World War II went like this. Austria was annexed by Germany. Britain and France gave Germany the Sudetenland. Germany invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia. And the final nail in the coffin was when Germany invaded Poland on September 1st, 1939. This would be shortly followed by the Soviets too. This alliance would shock the West, who would see Poland fall from both sides. This alliance was actually coordinated by the Germans and the Soviets. It was known as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. As you can see by looking at this map, the Germans and the Soviets had carved out Poland, and there is very little remnants of a Polish state left. After Poland had fallen, this lay the basis for the foundation of the rest of World War II. Germany would invade Denmark and Norway to receive their supply of iron ore from neutral Sweden. Following this, the rest of the events in World War II would be how we know it in our own timeline. This makes me wonder, what if the Soviets and the Germans had not been successful in their invasion? One of the first things I would like to change about the scenario to make it work, is that when the French were launching their invasions of Germany, none of them were really successful. I would like to change this by making at least one of them successful. This could be done by having France and Britain be more prepared for the war, and having Germany take more of their troops for reserves, and Poland having a better mobilization strategy. What this all does is ensures that the initial stages of the war for France and Poland can be more winnable than expected. What this does is make France more of a threat to Germany, causing more troops to be pulled away from Poland than needed to. What this does is make it so that the Soviets do not feel comfortable with invading Poland, as German successes are not really present. However, with German successes in the Western Front, we may just see a Soviet invasion of Poland, as they don't think that they're going to need as much troops to do it. No matter what, Poland will have to pull from the reserves of their army and have to use them on both sides of the front if they even want a chance to win this. With the front line in the west being more stable, as tanks and other forms of artillery have to be sent to Poland rather than the western front, we would see the front line stalemate a lot like World War I. Eventually, the Soviets would make one last offensive into the Baltic states before the winter comes. This move would be very surprising to Poland, as this was not very expected for this to happen. One good thing for Poland, however, is that the Soviet troops that are made for the winter in Siberia will not be coming, as they are rebelling against this war and do not think it is worth it to fight. During this time, Britain would make the blockade against Germany a lot worse, making it very hard for Germany to trade. During this first winter, we would likely see a lot of troops not really fighting that much, as it is very cold and they are more fighting the weather than they are fighting each other. This would make it so that Poland could become a better and more made power. By working on themselves during this winter, they will achieve that. The last change that I want to make is that Poland will convince Finland to invade Russia for the winter as a distraction away. In late March, Poland would consider launching some of their main attacks on the Soviet Union and Germany. On March 22, 1940, Poland would launch an invasion of East Prussia to strike the Soviet forces in the Baltics, sending the Soviet army into disarray. You may have noticed that on the Western Front that there has been a blockade by Britain, which would cause many, many successes on the Western Front for the Allies. Soviets are starting to fall apart. At this point, Leningrad has fallen, Poland is invading Slovakia, the Soviets are retreating from Poland uncoordinated and defeated, as well as the German troops are retreating from Poland to fight on the Western Front. The war for the Soviets and Germans is almost unwinnable. Poland would spend the rest of this war fighting for rebels in Ukraine, as well as trying to push to Berlin. On August 18th, 1940, Poland would win the Battle of Berlin, and on August 21st, Poland would win the Battle of Moscow, and Germany would surrender. After the Soviets lose the Battle of Stalingrad, about 3 days later, on September 1st, 1940, the Soviets would surrender. It is now time for the victors of World War II, Poland, France, and Britain, to decide on what to do at the Council of Danzig. Going into Poland, we would see Poland expand into East Prussia, Pomerania, Silesia, Slovakia, Belarus, and Eastern Galicia. Zooming out a little bit, Poland would gain a few puppets. These puppets include Czechia, Austria, Brandenburg, Ukraine, and Muscovy. The rest of Central and North Asia are organized as independent states. Zooming into Finland, Finland annexes Karelia, the Leningrad Oblast, and Leningrad. Zooming out a little bit, let's look into Germany. Germany to the Allies would have been held accountable for both world wars. Without American interest or mediation, it is likely that Britain, Poland, and France would go harsh on Germany. We've already discussed Austria, Czechia, and Brandenburg. Now, the rest. Schleswig-Holstein is occupied by Britain for 5 years. France would directly annex their occupation zone of Germany. Military limitation of Germany, and war reparations. Oh, and one final thing. Germany is reinstated as a democracy, just like pre-World War II. Zooming out, we would now see that after World War II, there would be two main spheres of influence, a democratic sphere as well as a Polish sphere. Although there still are the minor powers of Italy, Spain, and Yugoslavia, it is mostly just between Poland and the democracies. If you had liked this video, then tell me in the comments if I should make a second scenario following the future and what will happen after this war. As with the invention from the nuclear bomb from Britain that will likely spread to Poland, this would be very interesting to see what might happen for the future. It is important to note that all the events that I have just mentioned are very fictional and are very unlikely, as it is very impossible for Poland to have done all this stuff. With that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.